Let us start today's important current affairs. Global Hunger Index. Global Hunger Index. India's rank is 103. India's rank is 103. Global Hunger Index is published by International Food Policy Research Institute. Global Hunger Index is published by International Food Policy Research Institute. It is a tool to measure and track hunger globally. It's a tool to measure and track hunger globally. The 2018 Global Hunger Index have revealed many facts. They have revealed many facts. Global Hunger Index have 4 components. Global Hunger Index have 4 components. The proportion of undernourished as a percentage of population. The proportion of undernourished as proportion of the population. In the entire population who are undernourished. The proportion of children under the age suffering from child wasting. Suffering from child wasting. The proportion of children under the age of 5. The proportion of children under the age of 5 suffering from child wasting. What is child wasting? Low weight per height. Height is there but no weight. As per height you should have a weight, but if you are not having such a weight according to your height, that is called child wasting. The proportion of children under age 5 suffering from stunting. Suffering from stunting. Stunt, no height according to age. Stunt is no height according to age. Child wasting is no weight according to height. Child wasting is no weight according to height. And mortality rate of children under the age of 5. Mortality rate of children under the age of 5. How many children will die before 5? Before reaching 5 years. So there are 4 parameters for global hunger index. Global hunger index. The proportion of undernourished population. The proportion of undernourished as per the percentage of population. The proportion of undernourished. And second thing, the proportion of underage children of 5, under 5, children who are under 5 suffering from wasting. The proportion of underage 5 children suffering from stunting. Suffering from stunting. And finally, mortality rate of children under the age of 5. Mortality rate of children under the age of 5. So these are all the things which are really important. And Global Hunger Index is given by International Food Policy Research Institute, and in India we are getting not positive, not big positive signs because 50% of children in India are malnourished. 50%, irrespective of their family background, irrespective of parental income, 50% of children in India are malnourished. They are under malnourishment. Just remember this, 50% of children are under malnourishment. For that reason, the 3 calculations belong to children. Means mortality rate under 5, child wasting rate children under 5, stunting rate under 5. Under 4, within 4 parameters, 3 parameters belong to children. So automatically India's performance is not fair in a Global Hunger Index. Okay, coming to today's newspaper, Hindu newspaper, Me Too campaign. Me Too campaign. From times immemorial, women are at the receiving end in all the domains. Women are at the receiving end in all the domains. Sexual harassment, sexual abuse, stalking, voyeurism are all common in the female sex. But in 99% of the cases, women will not come out and tell what has happened to them. Even child sexual abuses are very common, but most of the children will not come and tell out. But for the first time in the recent past, we had a movement, campaign called Me Too campaign. The campaign is very viral in social media in the present world. In 2017, very famous Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein, there were 60 or 70 women who made allegations on him on sexual abuse. Me Too campaign is really good. Women are coming out and speaking about the abuse they actually faced. To an extent, it's really good because there were many allegations from many days, from many years on Tehalka chief, on many judges, bureaucrats, and today you all know central minister and a senior journalist is also facing the allegation under this Me Too campaigns. 5 women journalists came out and spoke about this. 5 women journalists. What for this campaign? What is the outcome of this campaign? Even Smriti Irani, she also backed the women. She is a lady, she has to do that. But the thing is, why? Why this campaign? First thing, this campaign is really good from bringing awareness. So when women become more vocal, definitely sexual abuses, sexual favors, all these things will subside. Second thing, there will be some deterrence. Third thing, society will also understand the problems of women. Fourth thing, in the modern world where social media exists, every incident, every movement will be watched by millions. So there will be name and shame. And the culprits will come to the task. We can make him to the task. We can actually question him. We can file a case. And even society will have some negative opinion on him. All these things are good. But how far it is correct? There are some issues and challenges with Me Too campaign. First is, sometimes there might be unruly or excessive abuses. Sometimes something might have happened many years back. Now we are unearthing the case. Sometimes it might happen that it will be innocents might be victimized. And more importantly, Me Too campaign is beneficial to urban elite women. 99% of women even today are not covered and they cannot access and they don't know how to produce their problems in social media. So Me Too campaign is helpful for the elite women. If you see now, all the cases and all the issues under Me Too campaign belong to entertainment industry, media industry, not for common women. The women who are coming out are from entertainment, are from media, not from common women. And I don't think urban elite women are anything less than man. They have good accessibility in their life. But the thing is, similar things should be helpful for rural women, not just for urban women. Similar things should be helpful for uneducated women. For example, if a woman gets a sexual harassment in the village by a jamindar or in the village in the agricultural fields, what type of campaign she can launch? We are talking about Me Too campaign, social media, journalists or judges or some experts or topmost people. But what about Me Too campaign of women in the rural areas, rural India? So these are all the issues which you have to address, and it's really good. Without much government support, civil society is doing all these things and women are coming up. If some woman comes up and speak, definitely there will be a momentum in the women folk. Really good. And there are 2 articles in Hindu Today on Me Too campaign. Just you go through that. You go through that Me Too campaign. The next important article today, very great article, the Great Indian Abdication. The Great Indian Abdication. This article is today's favorite article for me because it started with Plato's quote. My favorite thinker, Plato's quote. Plato, a famous Greek philosopher, said, until philosophers are kings or kings are princes in the world, have the spirit and power of philosophy, the cities will never rest from their evils. That means, unless great people with no self-interest rules the cities, means rules the country will not be get rid of, the country cannot get rid of evils. Evils means bad spirits. That means, in a simple language, good people with great heart, with altruistic mindset should rule the country. Otherwise, we have to see bad things in the country. This is the meaning of the introduction. Plato's Republic. Philosopher, king. Rulers should be like philosopher kings. Until philosophers are kings or kings are princes in the world, have the spirit and power of philosophy, the cities will never rest from their evils. Okay, so rulers should have a broad mind. They should not do something for their family, but they should think about the nation. They should think about the nation. The rule should be selfless. The rule should be selfless. And the article speaks about many things. The article says, judiciary is in limelight. Judiciary is in limelight because of various judgments like decriminalization of LGBT rights, Sabarimala women temple entry, decriminalization of adultery. There were plenty of judgments where everybody is waiting for judicial decision. Whole India is anxious about decisions made by judiciary. But there are 2 other organs of the government, Parliament, that is the legislature, and executive, which are also equally important, which are also equally responsible to bring some change in the country, to make some people in the country. And judiciary cannot alone fulfill the mission of deepening the democracy. Listen to the word. Judiciary cannot alone fulfill the mission of deepening the democracy. What do you mean by deepening the democracy? Deepening the democracy means in the every nook and corner, in all aspects of human life and in all institutions of country, democracy should be deepened, including religion, including culture, including social issues. LGBT issue is a social issue. Sabarimala issue is a religious issue. So we are trying to grow to the grassroots level and try to deepen the democracy. And we are trying to protect social freedoms. Right to privacy is a fundamental right, it's a freedom. So judiciary is taking the task of deepening the democracy and protecting the social freedoms. We are talking about social morality, judicial morality and constitutional morality. But everything is being defined by judiciary. Social morality, judicial morality, constitutional morality, and everything is being defined by judiciary. And we are trying to watch the judgments of judiciary time and again. But we are not giving similar importance to the bills and acts introduced in the parliament, passed by the parliament. We are not showing similar enthusiasm towards the bills and acts introduced by the parliament and passed by the parliament. The author gave an example. Foreign Contributions Regulation Act. Foreign Contributions Regulation Act retrospectively legalized the foreign contributions to the Indian citizens. Nobody discussed about that act. There is an act in India called Foreign Contributions Regulation Act. When you receive a foreign contribution, it should be according to some legal system. It should be legal. But can you retrospectively legalize the contributions received by you under Foreign Contributions Act? Government passed a act. Government passed amendment. Has there been any discussion on that widely in the people? No. No. So, the curiosity we have shown on section 377, section 497 of IPC or Sabarimala temple entry, we are not showing the very important legislation made by the parliament. So, we are awaiting for the judgment of the court, but we are not pursuing the law or amendment passed by the parliament, and we are in a parliamentary democracy. Yes, in parliamentary democracy, people are supreme. MPs have final say in law making, and the law made by the MPs can be judicially questioned. But are we really following what our MPs are doing? What laws they are making? India has a separation of powers, though no strict separation of powers. As you all know, separation of powers concept is given by Montesquieu, who wrote the book, the Spirit of the Laws. Who wrote the book, The Spirit of the Laws? There was separation of powers, no doubt about it. But the thing is, are we really following this? Are we really following that? Do we know the meaning of separation of powers exactly? All Indians, that was the question. And is the judiciary the only single most important functioning body in the country? Is the judiciary the only single most functioning body in the country? As if there is no other functioning body in the country. Is the judiciary only the single most important functioning body in the country? Parliament is supreme, definitely, because Parliament is nothing but the temple of democracy. Parliament is nothing but the temple of democracy. And Justice Chandrachud used the word fraud on the constitution, all these things. And how come a judiciary comment on executive and legislative actions? This was the thing. And Prime Minister rarely attends Parliament debates. Hardly Prime Minister, not only Narendra Modi, any Prime Minister, hardly they will get any time to visit parliamentary debates, because Prime Minister has to do many tasks, many duties, including foreign visits, including public policy making, including taking decisions, including visiting official programs. Prime Minister has many tasks. Obviously, Prime Minister, the first Parliament functioned for first Lok Sabha average met for 127 days, but now 57 days. In 1950s, Parliament in a year met for 127 days, now 57 days. In the 1950s, 72 bills were passed in a year. In first Lok Sabha, 72 bills were passed in a year. Now 40 bills were passed in a year. Now 40 bills were passed in a year. And in the budget session, in the recent budget session, only 12% allotted time was given. Rest all time was discussed on other matters. Rest all time were meant for any other matters. Rafale deal, all these deals. And next thing, Parliament, instead of representing the highest democratic ethos, it is discussing about trivial matters. Instead of discussing about highest democratic practices, it is discussing about trivial matters. And now we are more worried about section 377, section 497 rather than other things. Parliament is a elected body. Judiciary is an appointed body. Judges are appointed, Parliament is elected. In democracy, elected body has a major say. Elected body is a major say. In 1993, Justice Pandian said, around 3% in the judges are women. Around 4% are from SC/ST community. Around 4% are from SC/ST community. Even in most of the states today, average SC/ST community representation in judges is 14%. So all these things go undiscussed. In Supreme Court and High Courts, particularly in courts, lakhs of cases are pending. In Supreme Court, thousands of cases are pending. And regular use of public interest litigations. All these things needs, court has to work, has to do judicial work, legislature has to do proper law making, executive has to do proper implementation. Without following these things, we are trying to put all the burden, or judiciary is taking all the work of legislation executive. And it's a time for all of us to watch our legislature, to follow our executive, and to be prudent towards judicial decisions. To be prudent towards judicial decisions. All these things are important for the great Indian democracy. Otherwise, Indian democracy needs lot of reforms. This is article written, the great Indian abdication. What do you mean by abdication? Leaving the powers. See, my role as legislature is to make laws, effective laws, not just routine work. I am abdicating. I am getting out of my power. I am getting out of my work. That's called great Indian abdication. Very beautiful article. You can read this. And two economists, William D. Nordhaus, Nordhaus, and Paul M. Romer, Romer, Paul, Paul M. Romer, and William D. Nordhaus, Nordhaus, got Nobel Economics Prize, got Nobel Prize for Economics, and they brought us considerably closer to answering the important question of how we can achieve sustained and sustainable economic growth. Sustained and sustainable economic growth. Green development. How sustainability in economics is very, very important. How environment is related to economics. Mr. Romer and Nordhaus got Nobel Prize in Economics for sustained and sustainable economic growth. How we can get into that sustained and sustainable economic growth. And next important article today, has the Supreme Court missed a chance to keep criminals out of polls? Has the Supreme Court missed a chance to keep criminals out of polls? This was a debate in Hindu. That means Supreme Court would have delivered a better judgment for keeping criminals out of politics or not. Here you should know a story. In 2013, we have judgment given by the Supreme Court in Lily Thomas and Jan Chowkidari cases put together. In Lily Thomas and Jan Chowkidari cases put together. That judgment is as follows. There was a section called Section 8 Clause 4 in Representation of People's Act. Section 8 Clause 4 in Representation of People's Act. If an MP or MLA convicted by a lower court, if MP or an MLA convicted by a lower court, if he appeals to the higher court within 3 months, he will not lose his seat. He will not lose his legislative post. If an MP or an MLA is convicted by a lower court, within 3 months if he appeals, he will not lose his seat. Okay, this was Section 8 Clause 4 of RP Act, Representation of People's Act. But in Lily Thomas and Jan Chowkidari case, the Supreme Court said, if an MP or an MLA, if a legislator gets convicted for an offence which is punishable for 2 years or above, gets convicted for an offence which is punishable for 2 years or above, he should vacate his seat. He should vacate his seat. You know why? Because in India, when you get conviction once, if you go on appeals, it will take years to get that case finalized. Sometimes it will go up to decades. For that reason, criminals should be discouraged in politics. So according to the recent judgment in 2013, Lily Thomas and Jan Chowkidari cases, this was done. That any legislator, if he gets convicted for more than 2 years, they should immediately vacate the position. Okay. Recently, Supreme Court delivered a judgment. There is a case filed in the court stating that if there were not many criminal cases or allegations or charges made for heinous crimes like rape, murder, then that candidate should not be allowed to contest elections. That candidate should not be allowed to contest elections. If there are serious allegations, criminal charges, no conviction, allegations, criminal charges, then you have to disqualify that person to contest elections. But the Supreme Court said that is not within the domain of the court. If a conviction is made, court can do something. But if there is no conviction, only when charges are framed. Only when charges are framed, how can I disqualify? It is up to the parliament to make a strong law. It is up to the parliament to make a strong law to disallow and discourage criminals entering into politics. As you all know, in Lok Sabha, in the present Lok Sabha, out of total 543 MPs, 179 MPs got criminal charges. Out of total 543 MPs, 179 MPs got criminal charges. The debate in the Hindu paper today is, Supreme Court could it have been told that there should be stringent restriction for the people who were accused of serious crimes. And morally speaking, yes, criminals should not enter into politics. Legally speaking, there is a famous saying in law, the guilt of the accused should be proved beyond reasonable doubt. Only when there is an allegation, you cannot confirm that the man have committed a crime. Just because there is an allegation, you cannot confirm that a man have committed a crime. So, you cannot confirm that an MP or an MLA committed crime or a person who has committed crime just because by saying a criminal charge on him. Only once it is proved we can confirm. Once it is proved we can confirm. So, it is a human rights issue, it is a basic legal issue and moral issue, and again, when there are many heinous charges like rape, murder, kidnapping, all these things, it should be better for the people to decide whether to give vote to Gundas or not. But again, people are more emotional than rational. While giving votes, people are more emotional than rational. So in the Indian democracy, people are the final arbiters. People are the final decision makers. Let us leave the decision to the people. Okay, done? Stop.